Hello, and welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show podcast with Astrologer Shelley Overton. Lovely. Okay, hi, it's Shelley, and you are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show podcast for October 9th, 2020. It is Friday, and I'm not going to kid you, I am just about at the end of my rope with Mercury right now. Shh, don't tell him. I am basically piecing together my life because I'm a tech person. I have 4 planets in Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. One of them, well, I have Mercury in Virgo and Uranus in Virgo. So I've got so much of the energy this week that we've been dealing with, I have in spades. Like, I can't even tell you. So, well, I can tell you. I probably will tell you because I think I'm going to vent. Anyway, I've got this ancient iPad to do, I don't know if you can see it there, to see the chart today, because I have 4, not kidding, not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 Macintosh Apple products here, and that's just mine. I've got the laptop that's my daughter's, the iPad, and my iPhone charging over there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Apple products, and only one, the laptop I'm on, works appropriately. So yes, I'm at the end of my rope. This week we had Mercury opposing Uranus in the sky, exact opposite, and it's going to happen again 2 more times. This time I actually had my taxes due this week, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not even doing them until after that goes by. My phone was in desperate need of a new screen. Instead of paying $120 for a new phone screen, I decided to do it myself. Yes, that was a stressful thing, but I did it. And then as soon as I did it, I was going to use it for this podcast on this. And what happened? I squeezed it in here, it turned on a button, and then it just had the startup screen, and I couldn't use it. And it's working again, but I don't want to go near it. So yeah. Anyway, so this all happened, well, this whole week has been just a chaotic mess, and I'll tell you why. Mercury in opposite Uranus. So Mercury is the ruler of technology, small appliances, hardware, software, and anything small electrical, our personal computers, our phones, the car, because it's transportation. Almost got hit by a car this week. I know every time I'm on here and I talk about Mercury, there's always something going on that week that you've got to watch out for. You have to watch out for potential accidents, for car issues, the stellium of Capricorn planets are in my 3rd house of technology, communications, and transportation and thoughts. I've got all my technology has gone kaput in one way or another. And so thank you for being there, because I'm very excited to do this podcast for you, because I don't even know if I know how to upload it, because right now my computer, while yes, I know to back it up, I've got 3 hard drives, external hard drives to back up, but I don't know if I have access to the programs I need to upload this podcast. So we'll see, and hopefully it'll work. Anyway, I hope you all have had a better week than that. So I'm just going to go over it, kind of what's going on. And a big part of this podcast, I wanted to be more of a down-to-earth, hey, this is what's going on this week, and this is how it's practically going to affect you, because I find that it's doing this. It's, frustrating. We're all going through this time in the sky where the planets are all around us, interacting with us, and really causing some upheaval. As of last week, we talked about Saturn went direct early last week. The full moon was mid last week. And then Pluto went direct last weekend on Sunday. So this week we had Mercury opposing Uranus at 4:55 on Wednesday. And then the moon was in Gemini. So of course the moon was answering to Mercury. Mercury was opposite Uranus. And I honestly don't even know. I've only been seeing some political stuff, but I haven't really looked at a whole lot of news besides that. But then again, you look at the news and a lot of the news is just the main stuff. I mean, you have to really dig. I've seen, oh, this was a good one. Yeah, I'm pretty wired up right now. Pretty beside myself. So I'm out driving at the local town center, which is, you know, Best Buy, Target, Michael's, all the big stores. And there is a frontage road that's part of the shopping area. So you have a four-way stop, and we were coming out of this whole shopping area, my daughter and myself. She was driving. And off to the left, at a four-way stop, mind you, but it's 2 lanes in each section. So it's, 2 lanes each direction. So basically 4 lanes in and out each direction. And there was, I kid you not, a small black car with the front end pushed up and a big SUV on its roof. On its roof, right next to the stop sign on one of the 4 sides. So we went by and I'm just like, it's a stop sign. How do you get an SUV on its roof in a intersection? A stop intersection. And it was just afternoon. It wasn't like drinking time or evening or anything. 40 miles an hour that woman had, and it was a woman who hit the SUV, boom, and not that it matters, it really doesn't matter, but you know, I'm just like, how did that SUV turn out to be on its roof? That's the kind of week it is, my friends. So yeah, we are really lit up. As you can see, I am very lit up. And so what's going on is we have Jupiter in the sky, and I wish I could show you this. You can't really see it. It's really for me. See if I can get you close. There we go. We have Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn. They're all direct now, and Jupiter will be hitting Pluto coming up next, and I believe it's still a couple weeks away, or a week and a half, something like that. Yeah, stress. Anyway, just so you know, I have a lot of things I do with business that are technological and on computers. And when computers don't come up to the bar, and now every item I have has a notification on. Sorry about that. I apologize. Yeah, so we've got this opposition of Mercury to Uranus, which I told you, very difficult. What happens is Mercury will go direct, then retrograde in Scorpio, and come back and do the same opposition again next time when he's retrograde. Then he goes direct and he'll hit this same Uranus opposition again going forward. So we have 2 more of these oppositions. So it's really the story of that. And I know, you know, I've done astrology 40 plus years. I know what's coming. It doesn't always happen under Mercury retrograde. Believe it or not, you expect something's going to happen with Mercury retrograde, and sometimes it doesn't. And I don't know. I honestly have 3 other things that are giving me alarms. Yes, this is my life right now. So you don't know what is going to happen necessarily with each Mercury retrograde. You do know that technology can be affected, transportation can be affected, and thoughts and communication, miscommunication. So this week's going to happen 2 more times. And you know, I'll give you a heads up when that is. I'm going to keep moving because there's so much to talk about. And we have been really swamped with all this energy. So like I said, Moon was in Gemini early in the week, which answered to Mercury. So you know that was a big day. And then coming up, let's see, today in the morning, we had Mars squaring Pluto. War vibes. See? War vibes. So that's kind of how I feel about technology. I just want to throw it against the wall. Anyway, Yeah, so it makes you feel frustrated. It makes you feel angry. It makes you feel like you're not able to take the action you want to take. And let me get back to the stellium in Capricorn. I've been talking about it incessantly, but it's so much of what's going on right now. Jupiter direct, Pluto now direct, and Saturn direct. Jupiter is a transformative energy. Jupiter wants to educate us. He wants us to grow spiritually, but really he wants freedom. And he also wants to bring out the truth and show us what he's found in his journey through Scorpio. So it goes Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. So the energy of seeking out the understanding of Scorpio hitting Sagittarius, Jupiter's own sign, which he was in for the last year. And before this year, he was in Sagittarius. In December of last year, he got to Capricorn. This year, he's been in Capricorn, really bringing out a growth, an independence, a sense of freedom around what we own. This is why when I talk about this stellium, we are here to understand our own needs and responsibilities for ourselves. And I will bring in politics. So Trump has a late degree Leo Pluto. That's in negative aspect to late degree Pluto in Capricorn. He has been dealing with this because his sun sign is Gemini. That means he answers to Mercury. Mercury square or opposed Uranus this week. He ended up getting sick. I mean, it was bound to happen. So that happened. And then the planets were all retrograding going forward. We had the debate with Trump last week. This week they're saying, oh, well, the next one, we had supposedly 3 coming. The next one, no, he won't do it because it's going to be online and live stream, and he refuses to do that. So that's dead in the water. The flip of decision, it's not what it was. Energies changed from retrograde to direct. So now it's not the same. And then we had Pluto go direct, which is major life change. Pluto is psychology. Pluto is seeking out truth and hidden meanings, mysteries, and bringing them to light. And so while we had Pluto retrograde, we had to go back over some of the things that we needed to know psychologically. What are our motivations? Now, keep in mind that when Pluto went retrograde, Saturn was in Aquarius. So when Saturn came back into Capricorn, and then Jupiter was also right at the bitter end of Capricorn, he crossed back over Pluto. Now he's going direct. He's going to hit Pluto again for the final time. He went over Pluto, retrograded back over Pluto, and then went direct. And now he's going to go back over Pluto. So that means it is a culmination of the story around our own autonomy. And Capricorn at late degrees, or Pluto, any of the planets late degree Capricorn, are about the culmination of the story about responsibility, about career, and about authority. So as Jupiter hits Pluto, we are going to see endings. It's going to be the end of an ideology, the end of a structure, the end of buildings, the end of physical, tangible buildings. We lost 2 J's, which is a deli here in Orlando, at least here by me. We've seen businesses going out of business because of what's been going on with COVID, but also some of those businesses just didn't have the money and the proper cash handling to stay in business. So we're seeing that. We're seeing structures and systems collapse. Hierarchy will be collapsing. Certain types of hierarchy. Capricorn, because it's got Pluto in late degrees, is always going to be about the tangibility of something, the physicality of something. It's our bodies as well. So we are seeing more physical body issues. With the movement into Aquarius, it shifts the energy from earth and groundedness to air. When we get into the air energy, we get into thoughts, we get into multiples, we get into unusual circumstances, we get into the collective. We stop having as many boundaries that Capricorn puts on us and move into an awakening of freedom and lack of boundaries. But Capricorn's ruler Saturn goes on into Aquarius first. And so we're going to see as Jupiter, remember Jupiter and Aquarius, they have Capricorn between them, but they are both heavily freedom oriented. And since Jupiter will speak its mind, it goes to find out the information from Pluto, goes into Aquarius, and now joins up immediately with Saturn, which is the Capricorn energy. But it's in the Aquarius territory, in Aquarius's playing field. So now it's about freeing ourselves, but creating a structure of freedom, a structure of awakening of ideas, and a new jumping off point for understanding all these different ideas. I know I've been talking a lot about this the last few weeks, and I do want to say other things because so many other aspects are coming in here. We've got Mars alone, assertiveness, aggressiveness, battling it out. Debates are for sure Aries and Mars energy. Oh my goodness, hang on a second. I'm just going to try and get this out of here because I can't respond just now. So Mars is going to square Pluto on, well, let me see, October on the 10th. So that's tomorrow. He's going to square Jupiter on the 19th. And he is going to square, oh, wait a minute. He's going to continue to square Jupiter actually between the 18th and the 24th. Just know that that whole week is going to be a really heavy week. And it's going to be about people passing, transitions, people moving, relationships ending, and educational situations changing. I do think that that's going to be a big week for maybe more school closings again because of the virus. So I anticipate that Jupiter rules education, especially higher education, which tells me colleges are going to get more and more hit by Corona. And I really have in my heart believed that this isn't over and that we will end up having to rein things in. And they said that for a long downward slope of Corona getting less, now it's going back up again, not surprising. I know here in Florida, I think I mentioned it last week, they got rid of a lot of restrictions. We have now people can go into restaurants and sit anywhere, and they're not distancing, and not every restaurant does that here in Orlando. Some of them are still following those restrictions. I was at IHOP this week with my parents and my daughter, and my daughter and I were both very uncomfortable because the waitress had her mask below her nose, which is what's the point? You know, you're gonna breathe whatever onto other people. It's just gonna be that way. I apologize for all the noise, but let me see if I can do something about it real quick. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hang on. Trust. Okay. There we go. Now maybe it'll stop. I cross my fingers. Take a deep breath and a sip of water. So if you're listening, take a sip of water right now. You know, this is pretty much like a live situation. You're hearing a recording, but you know, I'm doing this in one shot, and so whatever happens, happens. And honestly, it may get left in this week because I don't have any way to edit it. But we've got, yeah, like I was saying, Pluto on the 15th of November is in square to Mars, but Mars will be going direct and actually doesn't hit exact, but Venus is at 23 Libra squaring Jupiter and Pluto that week in November. I don't even, you know, there's just so much. I'm just gonna talk. So what was I thinking? I was thinking this week about Aquarius and so many people really trying not to move towards the collective awareness of what's going on. People, and this is the thing, if you resist, you're going to suffer. This is a time from now through probably a year from now, and maybe even for 5 years, because we have Pluto changing from Capricorn to Aquarius in the process of those end degrees. So really the least amount of suffering you're going to have is if you accept what is and figure, okay, if this is what it is, what would I do then? If this relationship is always going to be this way and that person isn't going to change, what would I do then? Would I stay with that person the way he or she is, or would I leave? What if this job is never going to let you grow beyond this point? Would I stay in that job or not? What if this house is always going to have issues? The room over there is going to be always too far from that room over there, and the water is never fixed. It always gives us issues. What if that's the way it's always going to be? Light degree Saturn, Capricorn energy, says that it's digging in. So wherever we are with all these issues in our lives, career, job, cars, houses, relationships, family, if it doesn't change, do you want to still be there? Is that really what you want to do? And if it does change, it's going to be reliant on you changing. That's the story. That's where we're at right now. That's what it's all about. Yeah, it's about getting okay with the way things are, and then what do you do? Okay, this is going to be this way. It's not changing. I have to change. So, do you get a job somewhere else? Do you tell that person that you love with all your heart that you can't do it anymore? I watched Sleepless in Seattle with my daughter, and I didn't remember that the main female character, Meg Ryan, was with Bill Pullman's character the whole time until the night she met Tom Hanks' character. The whole movie was her in a relationship until the very end. And she had that very question. Is this going to make me happy the rest of my life? So, I'm getting older. I'm at a point in my life. I encouraged a friend of mine today. He just told me for the first time, I've known him for 30 years. He just told me he wanted to be a high school teacher. And he spent his career in sign and making signs and signage. And I'm thinking, what are you waiting for? He's in his mid 60s. And I said, he was one class away from graduating college. And I'm just like, he went to the University of Wyoming, the College of Art and Design, or Colorado Institute of Art in Denver, and Metro State College in Denver. And he was one class away from getting his degree. He was on the President's Honor Roll. And he spent the rest of his life compromised in signage. Not that that is a compromise for other people who are very passionate about signage and graphic design and design work, architecture. That's awesome. I mean, I've done signage in my life. It's a fun field, but it wasn't what he wanted. I mean, I encouraged him. I said, you know what? You're older than the majority of the people alive today. So why are you letting somebody else call the shots for your life? Why are you letting them have an opinion about your life or about how things should be that is more weighted in your life than your own opinion? You've lived your life experiences. You've lived your life. Why does any other person in this world matter more than your opinion to you? It shouldn't. You need to care about you. And that's what Jupiter wants you to do. That's why we're learning about the psychology of structure and Capricorn, because Capricorn wants to own everything in sight in a sense of I'm responsible for him and her and that kid and that parent and this job, and I am under the burden of everybody's have to do list. But that's not okay anymore. Jupiter doesn't want you to be that way. Jupiter wants you to get real with yourself, know that you can't take it anymore, and that's okay. You're going to make a new life, and you're going to get that life at the end of this year, because Jupiter moves from this restrictive energy into a very freeing mental energy. It's about anything can happen, and does. Uranus, which rules Aquarius, both of those energies, I mean, if you know one, you know the other. Uranus has all the same attributes and archetype as Aquarius. So Aquarius is all about the unexpected, things that can happen on a dime. You could be living your life here, and then all of a sudden circumstances completely shift, and now you're on your way over to Hawaii on an airplane to live there. You just never know. So the future is uncertain. And I think that's what everybody is all upset about right now, is they don't know what the future holds. They don't know what direction to go. We have these structures that are set up on a hierarchy that there's always some kind of resistance, which is what Capricorn does. It resists and gives us that structure and that resistance. So we know this is why children like discipline, because they're trying to figure out who they are. And so they try things in different directions. And when it resists, they go, oh, well, is that someone else's resistance coming to you, or is that your own mindset attracting it in? I believe we attract in the vibration of what we wanted to come here and experience. Does that mean we always want to be abused physically or emotionally or mentally? No. Do we want to suffer? No. But we're here to understand things and learn lessons. And Jupiter's really good about teaching us lessons. That doesn't mean it has to be painful. Sometimes we can let it go. And that's what we're going to learn, how to let it go. Because Aquarius doesn't want the baggage, and neither does Jupiter. Jupiter travels light. He knows how to travel because that's what he's in charge of, traveling. Mind traveling, body traveling, air travel, it's all Jupiter. We are experiencing an expansion coming into this year. It's going to be a whole new world for us. It is going to involve technology. There's going to be restriction around technology. Some of what I'm having right now is probably going to carry over to this new energy. I'm expecting that I will have to buy a potentially a new car, maybe a new phone, maybe a new computer. All that energy is ruled in my third house where Capricorn is. You know, I'm actually looking forward to moving to a new place. So all of these things may not be seen right now. I don't know if I'm going to get a new car. I don't know if I'm going to get a new house or anything. But I strongly anticipate it, not only because our thoughts set up our future, but because I'm an astrologer and I see how the planets transit in my chart, and I can see it in yours too. And I know that we are moving forward. We are never physically moving backwards with astrology. The planets always go around the sun. They just appear to go backwards and appear to pull energy, and we perceive the energy to be pulled away because the way they are in orbit. But they don't actually physically go backwards, and you won't either. You will always go forward, maybe a spiral. We're going to spiral around because, you know, the planets always go around the sun. We're going to go over familiar territory. We are in the territory of the beginning of our country right now. We have been dealing with similar circumstances to the hierarchy and the oppression that happened when this country was founded. We get to experience it firsthand, more so than any other generation since this country was founded. We know what they went through because we're experiencing it right now. So will it change? Of course it'll change. We didn't experience this kind of energy 100 years ago. We didn't experience it 20 years ago. We're experiencing it now. This is a major world shift. So we are learning from this shift. And I just want you to know that it will change. It's going to change. It has to change. And there are better times ahead if you're having trouble finding a reason to keep moving forward. I'm sure you're not alone. There, I just blew some positivity at you. and got rid of an ant on my screen. But yes, it's going to shift. It's going to change. We will get better. It will move forward, and it's closer than you think. So my advice to you is it's going to shift in December, mid-December, major shifts. Are we going to get away from a little more suffering until then? Probably not. As long as we hold on to what was, we're going to suffer. So we have to let go of that. We have to let go of how things used to be and understand change is the only constant, people. It really is the only constant. So just know that I'm going through it with you. You know, I'm not exempt. I'm not exempt. But I do have optimism. And Jupiter in Aquarius is extremely optimistic. Saturn may put a little bit of a wet blanket on it, but I don't think it's going to stick because Aquarius is a cheerful energy. And so while Saturn is there, he's going to try and harness the incredible amount of electrical energy that we will get from Aquarius. And I had this conversation yesterday with my accountant. So accountants generally are very grounded. And I was telling her, she's a Gemini, so she isn't as grounded 100% of the time. But when we are feeling spiraling out of control, tongue out of control, we need to ground. How do you ground? You channel your earth signs. Your Taurus, which is physical, tangible goods, having something, you know, that puts things in focus. You have things that help you, tools that help you do things. So yeah, we get grounded. We walk, we hug a tree, we hold hands with people, we well, of course, with a mask or family members, but we stay grounded because grounding channels the electrical energy and gets rid of it. That's what earth energy does. Air energy is electrical, earth energy is grounding. Excuse me. And water energy is conductive. And let's see, fire. Fire probably initiates even more electrical energy. So yeah, just know your elements, know your signs and your elements. I will tell you really quick before we end this. And that is air is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Earth is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Let's see, fire is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And did I say, let's see, who haven't? Water. Water is, first one, Cancer. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So when you know the elements, when you know the energy of the elements, you know how they interact and helps you in your astrology. All right, well, I think I got everything out. The only other thing I wanted to say, and this kind of got to me because I heard someone else say Scorpio has triangles. No, Libra is the sign of triangles. Scorpio, not. I have a Scorpio rising, moon, and Neptune, trust me, Libra. And I'll tell you why Scorpio may seem that way, and any sign may seem like they have attributes of other signs near them, is because when you put Scorpio on the first house, you have Libra in the subconscious. So somebody with a Scorpio rising may end up attracting in a triangle, but the triangle energy is associated with the scales and the fulcrum. So there's a fulcrum attached to the scales, 1, 2, 3, triangle. Anyway, all right, that's all. Thank you for letting me vent. And I understand if you didn't listen all the way to the end, but if you did listen to the end, I would like to share some of my art with you. And if you are interested, you can go and get a view of my art at shelleyoverton.com. I'm going to show you some of my latest art. Okay. This isn't even out yet. This is a character that I've done called Charm. And actually, she may or may not be Charm. Charm is a bunny rabbit that I did, but I think she's slightly different from my character Charm. So she's got a little baby bunny, and they're at Disney World. How fun is that? I can't wait to finish that. But if you're interested in seeing more of my art, it's at shelleyoverton.com. And links are all there. And everything I do is going to be linked through shelleyoverton.com. AngelicZodiac.com is where you go to get a reading from me. I would really love to do a reading for you. That's really my favorite thing to do. So let's find out what's going on in your future and what you can expect in the near future. And if you want that, go to AngelicZodiac.com. You can also find me at Facebook and Instagram. Just type in Angelic Zodiac. If you want to contribute to the podcast and help me get it out every week, you can go to Patreon and get extra benefits from subscribing to my Patreon page, and that's Angelic Zodiac as well. Anyway, we will see you soon, and so bye. Thank you so much for showing up and putting up with my excessive energy this week. You think? I think. Anyway, take care. Bye.
You have been listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. If you would like to get a private reading with Shelley, please contact her through angeliczodiac.com or at so@angeliczodiac.com. You can arrange a reading through the Angelic Zodiac page at facebook.com as well. Check out Angelic Zodiac on Instagram for up-to-date information on events, discounts, blogs and planetary transits at Angelic Zodiac 1 on Instagram. If you would like to see Shelley's art, shelleyoverton.com, or for astrology art, go to astroart.net. Music provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Other music will be credited within the show. Advice given in the program is intended for entertainment purposes only. Join us here next week for more of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show podcast. You can find us on iTunes and Google Play, and where podcasts are accessed.